Welcome back, Tarot fam. I'm Annabelle. I'm a tarot practitioner and psychic for over 35 years. This is Timeline Thursday. This is a bonus episode, 3 parts. This is the third part. And this is where we step outside the headlines and look at decision points, past, present, and future of your favorite monarchs and royals and political figures and celebrities. So we are looking at how the future is not fated. It is shaped by choices, leadership, restraint, and courage at all times. So we're not looking at what could happen or what did happen, but what should happen to get the strongest possible outcome. This is something I do every day for my private clients. So if you'd like your own magical reading, you can look at my about section or in the links down below. I have a bunch of different ways that you can book with me. If you have any questions, fortunecookiestarot@gmail.com, or you can go to my website, fortunecookiestarot.com, and throw an inquiry in there. Sign up for the newsletter while you're at it, because we do lots of cool stuff. So on to today's topic. We are looking at William's slim down monarchy, King Charles and William slim down monarchy. So we are going to be right back after this. Welcome back, Tarot fam. So we are going to wrap up this bonus section where we're looking at the fall of the House of York and Sussex. And we looked at some timeline shifts where there were existential pressure points put onto the royal family. So now we have Charles, King Charles III, discussing a slimmed down royalty. And we've seen some action taken in that direction. Are we on a firm timeline that is not shiftable at the moment? So I keep getting this ship off the surface, and I keep seeing this whip too. So Charles does not want to hear the same conversation over and over again. He does not want to hear people telling him, we've got to do it this way. He firmly believes that the royal family is an unbreakable institution. He does not see the fragility of the monarchy in the same way that I do think that Queen Elizabeth recognized and that William recognizes. Charles just wanted to step into a pair of shoes and continue on down the road, whereas William says, we've got to resole them. We possibly need to get a new pair of shoes. Up here, the messenger is that accident of birth does not necessarily create a good person. It doesn't necessarily do that. The strength of the royal family is going to be in this monetization of whatever. So any of the duchies, this is where their strength is going to come from. Charles, I do think, is investing in those parts of the royal family so that they can maintain and continue along the lines with their investitures and their charities and the support of the people in the royal family. So will we see him change his mind at any point during his reign? King of Cups. No, he wants to keep things status quo. We are working. I'm not taking anything else on. We're not going to see any significant changes for Charles at this time. So, timeline shift. William, does he have one planned? Absolutely. William wants to get rid of all of the little people and all of the crafty little people. We've got the fox on the mice, the ones that are disrupting. He absolutely wants to let go of the individuals that are affecting the royal family negatively. If he could send Andrew to Siberia, he would. If he could send Harry to Siberia, he would. So he is uncovering during his tenure as the Prince of Wales, he is uncovering who are the ride or dies and who aren't. So he's building his court right now. He's building his courtiers. The problem for him is that there will be people that will guilt trip him about abandoning certain parties and certain houses to the wilds of public will. That is what he's going to deal with. I do think that he will finance some of these houses. That I said that I believe that Andrew got a severance pay when he left Royal Lodge and when he moved on to his new temporary digs, ultimately into his new permanent digs. I think that there is a severance pay. I also believe that they offered it to Harry and Meghan and they refused it. I think that they did refuse a severance pay because it was not enough for them. So it eclipsed their debts and they didn't want to take it. The fall of the House of Sussex and York is happening. It's inevitable. It is on full display. We are seeing it in real time. So what is going to define William's leadership on the timeline that he has planned right now? What is going to define his leadership? That's a tough one because we want to love William, don't we? We want to love him. His heartlessness is what is going to define him. His lack of wishy-washy sensitivity is going to define him. That is what we are going to see, a king with a backbone of steel out of William. That's what's going to do it. Does this strengthen royalty and the royal house of Mountbatten Windsor? Yes, it is going to, because this is going to be, I talk about spiritual hygiene a lot of the time. This is about legacy hygiene. And I'm not talking about rewriting history and taking people out of the history books or anything like that. But this is not accepting individuals that have exhibited bad behavior, counterproductive behavior, and destructive behavior. It's not about allowing them a pass because of where they were born. William is going to create a monarchy and a world. It's going to look very different from what we expect. But if he continues on this timeline, he's going to create a monarchy that is based on merit, not birth, which is going to be very, very different. We're going to have that core family. We're going to pour all of our resources into making them good and powerful people that use their accident of birth for the greater good. We're going to see that. What decision is going to protect the legacy? Is it going to be the decision on Andrew, or is it going to be the decision on Harry? Andrew, Harry. We will find out through William that Andrew and Harry are very, very similar, that the level of greed from the indulgences that were provided for these second sons, that is something that they are going to be working toward in the future, avoiding having there. The ne'er-do-wells of the royal family have idle time to sit and complain and whine that they didn't get 4 sausages and their brother got 5. These are very, very small things for people to be worried about, like us. They are tremendous things in the royal family. And that is what William is going to dial back. This isn't about taking the kids to McDonald's like Diana, the Princess of Wales, did with William and Harry. This is more so about building a moral structure in the people that are in the line of succession that is going to be reflective of the highest good, not the highest good that I can get away with. So I think Meghan Markle is a great example of this because she wanted privilege without the penalty. She wanted to flex all of the glamour and not understand why that glamour was being gifted to her. Andrew and Harry, very similar. They were used to the glamour, they were used to the glitz, they were used to getting whatever they wanted, and they didn't understand that they had it so well, unfortunately. Um, so Tarot Maniacs, let's see about some of the key dates in the Sussex factor here and see if the timeline upon which we are on now is going to change or if it's going to stick. So January 8th, 2020 was the Megxit announcement. March 31st, 2020 was the official departure from working duties. And January 2023 was the publication of Spare. So let's see, was the announcement of Megxit a timeline shift? This was adherence. The announcement was actually a flexing of power, and it was something that was already committed to. And this was a gift that they were giving themselves. The bugaboo in the situation was that this was ground floor of them, Harry and Meghan, defiling the image and the concept of the royal family. Their hope, again, was that they were going to go and set up an alternate reality court in the United States, which makes no sense because there are no kings in America. So here, the message was that we are powerful. So really, ground floor of that timeline shift. What was the remainder of that plan? We're going to make our announcement. Let people make their judgment, and then the world will spin in our favor. That was the expected turnout of that particular timeline and free will events. So when they officially departed, when they officially left, we're talking about the freedom flight, guys, when they were on the freedom flight, was that a timeline shift? Again, did we see another timeline shift? We got 3 off the board. So yes, the book was already ready to go, guys, when they did this. They were already prepared to write the book. They had their footage that they had saved, all of that. And the key was them getting out without any people noticing. So is this another timeline shift? No, I think it's part of the equation. What about the publication of Spare? Not the writing, but the publication of Spare. Was that another jump to another timeline, further and further away from Harry's expected timeline? Publication of Spare. There he is, that Knight of Swords. This was him trying to add by subtracting. And this is something that we see with people that have narcissistic tendencies. They will devalue another in the hopes that the light being shown on the inadequacy or ineffectiveness of that other party will thereby make them look much more successful and much better at what they are doing or what they're not producing. So this was the royal family does all this good stuff, but you know what? They're not really that good. And I'm going to tell you why. I am going to drop why. So did this take Harry off a particular timeline? I think it did. I think it took him down a timeline where he would not be as effectual. So it's reputational turbulence, certainly, that we're seeing with all of these shifts, January 8th, 2020, March 31st, 2020, and leading up to January 2023. So parts of the equation, are any of these points, do they make it impossible to return? The public will never forget. His storyline has been written. It's been written, guys. The mysterious woman trying to set them above everyone else is going to be problematic. The bear, the royal family, will make their declaration. There is not a way back at this point. The tree is the tree. Look at that. We've got the tree and the tree up here, guys. So what's that all about? That is the legacy is going to manage that legacy. We are not going to see Harry advance in age. As a child, he remains a child, isolated and stuck in that way of thinking. Unless we break that way of thinking, King of Cups, he's got to come on, get happy. Seven of Pentacles, Six of Cups, Wheel of Fortune. The royal family is going to benefit from the lack of chaos being in the household of Mountbatten Windsor. So I don't think that there's very much recourse for Harry to come back. I just don't think that it does. So let's look in more general terms to wrap up this three-part reading. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. If you would like to see any topics that are discussed, to see if they were timeline shifts, let me know in the chat down below. This channel is entirely driven by your suggestions and your comments. So I would like to see that. So let's look at the highest performing timelines here. 1936 was a decision year for the royal family. They got a new sovereign. 1997 was a decision year. They had to revisit how they were going to treat an ex-law, Diana, the Princess of Wales. 2019 was a decision year because the efforts to make Harry and Meghan stay were ignored and they left anyway. So if new revelations arrive in the 2025 and beyond, or let's say into 2030, okay, what strengthens the monarchy long term? And we're going to do some Lenormand based on this. What strengthens it? Fidelity. So first thing we have is that fidelity will overcome the dark clouds. So again, it doesn't have to be people that are born into the family. I think William is going to tap into individuals that are peri-royal family, to people his Privy Council, to strengthen the ways and means of the royal family and the way that they function in a brave new royal family world. So having those fidelitous people in there, unfortunately, this is the decade that the royal family is learning that blood is not necessarily thicker than water. Over here, we are going to see that relationships and marriages and connections are key. So we are going to see more attention being paid to those relationships. And I'm going to say, as a psychic side note, that I think they are also looking at the Beckhams and what's going on with the Beckhams, allowing children to cultivate and form relationships with other people that maybe don't have the same sensibilities or morality. So I'm not saying that the Peltz family is immoral or anything like that, but they just don't have the same focus as the Beckhams would. So I think that this is going to be very interesting, seeing a little bit more of a strategic planning rather than just letting the kids go off to college, find someone that looks pretty, looks nice, and they decide to tra-la-la down that relationship. The house above all, the direct line of succession is going to be more carefully cultivated and cared for. William, I don't know how much of a hand was played in his choice of spouse, but certainly Harry was given free rein to select someone that he liked. There wasn't any presentation of these are a selection of young ladies for you. What do you like, Greg? Whatever you like, sire. So I think we will see that. This will be a burden to the future lines of succession, but the key to sustaining the family is to embrace the changes that are happening and to strategize according with them. So I do think that this checking out who's marrying who is going to strengthen the monarchy moving forward. What weakens it? That accident of birth, loose lips, and the gift of the passing of the baton. So what weakens it? Messages from within. The messages from the messenger are the things. This is a main thing that weakens. Also, the assumption that everyone that is born into that line of succession is suitable and going to be cultivated into a great leader or representative for the royal family. Princess Anne, the Princess Royal, I think we're going to be taking a really big page out of her book where her children were not given titles and they were allowed to live private lives. I think we're seeing the same thing with the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, where they are allowing their children to naturally grow into roles should they choose, but preparing them for roles outward of the royal family. What weakens it? The craftier people allowing too much decision making on the part of the little voices that are around. That includes Privy Council, the King's small court, the Queen's small court, the people that are surrounding them and giving them advice, their ladies in waiting, those kinds of things. Over here, the blessing is the burden. The blessing is the burden. And it is upon that sovereign, the king, the queen, whoever is ascending to the throne, to have this good discernment. So this becomes problematic later on if we get a mad king situation like the Targaryens. I'm going to bring up a fictional family, but like the Targaryens, if there's a line of madness, this becomes a problem because we are narrowing the royal family down. So I do think that, you know, we have to be very careful, very strategic in these families and wedding matches that they're possibly going to be doing, because they have to make sure that they don't bring any instability into the main roles of the royal family. Ultimately, what else weakens it? Those that pretend to be friends. So this is a tough job for any sovereign and any person who is in a leading role here, that they have to really vet those friends because there's so much behind the scenes. And I think perhaps, I know there's a lot of rumblings about where Meghan Markle came from. Was she in the Epstein files? Is she a plant? Is she part of the FBI, the CIA? She's part of all these things. I think that we're going to find that there are a lot of spies that want to warm their hands by that power center. So we're going to have a sovereign in there that's very bright, very astute, and hopefully marries well to have a partner that is going to be able to help them discern some shady McShadesters should they show up. The weakening of the British line as well, I think we're seeing a natural progression. We are very fortunate that we have William in the line right now. William is going to make sure that he moves with the evolution of the royal family rather than try and hang on to old, outdated ideas and concepts and behaviors of the royal family. Again, like a simple explanation of this: information travels so much faster. 200 years ago, the queen could have a baby, deliver that baby could die, and no one would know about it until months later. The queen had a male child that did not make it. Sadly, the child has been buried, blah, blah, blah. They would find out about it after. We find out everything in real time now. Harry falls down on a curb coming out of a cafe because he had too many drinks, and we're going to hear about it. If Catherine goes to a meeting and has lipstick on her teeth, we're going to hear about it 5 minutes before it happens. They are now trying to move with these systems and the media and the kind of control that you can have over that instant information. They're trying to work with that a lot better. And I think that the progression of life is weakening the royal family, but we are lucky that we have William there to kind of hold the door. So what is the highest timeline we have available right now? Because remember, the future is not fixed. So what is the highest timeline for success right now? What does William do? Let's look at King Charles first. Highest timeline with the Yorks. And we're going to take this out of here because we're just doing this with tarot now, guys. This is what you've been waiting for. So what does King Charles do? Timeline, highest success rate with the Yorks. What does he have to do with Andrew now, in this moment, February 2026? What does he need to do? King of Swords, Eight of Cups, exactly what he's doing with Andrew right now, taking away any kind of power that he has, any kind of influence that he has, and tucking him away. Eight of Cups, we're tucking him away. It's already in process. What about the investigations that are coming up? What should he do as far as that goes? Four of Swords, the king's hands are tied. Four of Wands, he has bigger fish to fry. He's got to leave it alone. He's got to let the powers that be do what they do. So what happens to Andrew if King Charles adheres to that? What happens to Andrew? Two of Swords, he lives a very, very different life. He is nostalgic about his old life. And the Page of Pentacles has some difficulty getting comfortable with the new world that he's in. So again, we talked about it in one of the earlier videos. Punishment is enough sometimes, depending on how far the lofty have fallen. Punishment sometimes may be enough. So it may be enough to punish Andy by not letting him travel around, have oodles of money to play with, and to hire friends to come in, and not have his particular favorite brand of champagne. So what about with Sarah? Knight of Wands. It's almost as if she has already been dealt with. And she's got plenty of options that she can go and screw up on her own time. I don't think that the king really needs to be worried because she's been out there doing her own thing. She's seen as a grifter, so I think she continues to grift. What about the girls? Again, we're talking about King Charles. What should King Charles, what is he going to do? What should he do for the highest level of success for Beatrice? Two of Wands and the Strength card. There's a much more paternal feeling toward Beatrice, and he almost wants to take her in hand and take her on as one of his own and advise her as he would a father. But he can't bring her in, and that pains him. What does he want to do? He wants to extract her from the acts of justice that are happening to her parents now. If he does that, what happens? It just gets worse. It just gets worse. We have the Death card and we also have the Queen of Swords. It just gets worse. He really needs to fight those inner urges to rescue this princess from the nonsense that her parents were involved in. Really needs to do that. As hard as that's going to be. So if we see that, you know, I wouldn't be too hard on him. What about Eugenie? What about Eugenie? What does he need to do for the highest good? Eugenie, he needs to employ her. And I don't mean with the royal family. I mean, he needs to call in some favors and get her into a position where she is going to be sustainable. That is really, you know, it's almost like he has to say, I'm going to do you a favor behind closed doors. I'm going to help you out here. We're going to get you sorted out. And then you don't have to worry about any money from the crown. We're going to make you sustainable on your own. 9 of Pentacles. That would be a help. And I do think it would keep her quiet about some other things. She wouldn't leverage what she knows and what she's seen and try and parlay that into some monies. So a little bit different. So highest good, I think he needs to just comfort Beatrice a little bit and set Eugenie, comfort Beatrice quietly on the inside. And also inside deal with Eugenie, find her a circumstance that is going to be financially sustainable for her. Now, we're going to look at the timeline with William. Fast forward, we have King Charles has reached the fulfillment of time, and William is on the throne. What does William need to do for the highest good in regard to the York situation? 7 of Swords. Unveil everything. 2 of Pentacles. Allow everyone to see everything. That is what people are going to want by the time William gets on the throne. They're going to want to see all of the gory details. What is the response after that? Andrew will not be happy, but Andrew will not be able to do anything forward. So I think full disclosure from William, he will not be embarrassed by it. All of the players that would be offended or upset by it are going to be gone. What about Sarah? She's in her own world of chaos. He doesn't have to do a thing. Again, same thing with King Charles. I think they're very hands-off on Sarah. What about his cousins? This is Beatrice. Well, he won't talk to her like a king, but he won't say, I'm still your cousin. He will give her the limited options that she has. And he'll say, we can pick one of these, and this is where your future lies. He is going to stress that I am not doing this as your king. I am doing this as someone who has information. And we are trying to carve out another world for you. Tough. How about Eugenie? 5 of Wands. 7 of Pentacles. He's going to have some issues with some of her associates. And I think he is going to let her know that some of your associates are not the right kind of people, and you are doing the same thing as your parents. So does he tells her, if you're not going to listen to me, then there's no joy, there's no excitement, there's no good life for you. So will Beatrice listen to William? I think she will, and I think Beatrice will opt to be less of a royal. Keep in mind, she's still a noble through her husband. Eugenie is likely, if given this option, to continue down a similar path to her parents. Very similar path. We will see William letting people out themselves. So let's look at optimal timeline for the king to deliver Harry and Meghan. Six of Wands. Six of Pentacles. You guys are successful on your own. No more money. No more money. What is his attitude toward his son, Harry? Justice. Harry, you're never going to see justice here because you really haven't done anything but be offensive and divulge stories and things about your whole family. Go off and do your own thing. What about toward Meghan? Patience. An Eight of Pentacles. It's going to show that she does not work. It's going to show that nothing she does yields any significant funds or impact or anything. There's no metrics on it. So the king has to stop funding. We already think that he's done that, and has to stop helping and just say, congratulations, you guys are doing your own thing now. What should the king do about Archie and Lily? Archie, I think the king wants to know about the genetics. He wants to know where this kid came from. What about Lily? King of Cups, he's very uncomfortable about the Lily situation. And I don't think that he thinks she belongs in the line of succession or royal family at all. To be continued. Let's look at William. William and the two of them, they are always going to be a problem. They are always going to mess up the couch cushions every time they come over. What about Harry? Optimal timeline. Wheel of Fortune. Harry had it all and went off to go pretend to be adult. To live out his best life as adult. Go with God. Go do that. Go behave recklessly. You have my blessing. You wanted to go do it. Freedom flight. You're gone. You're good to go. What about Meghan? 10 of Wands. She is a bit much to handle, and she's a drain on the economy, the royal family's economy. So be gone. We're done with her. No more clothing expenses. I wouldn't even be surprised if William handed her an invoice at some point. What about the kids? William in regard to Archie. The Fool and the Nine of Wands. I think his inclination is to take him out of the line of succession, but not to divulge any information about him. And that would be for the privacy of the individual, not for the sacrosanct story behind where Archie came from. He would just want to preserve and protect the story behind that kid. What about Lily? 3 of Cups. And the 5 of Cups. Lily, too. He does not want in the line of succession. She's an adorable child, but does she actually belong here with the rest of us? I'm slimming down the monarchy. We're not taking applications at this time. So I think it's very interesting that the accident of birth has come up very, very clearly in this particular series of readings that I've done. And the accident of birth is going to be replaced with conscious selection of people that are going to support and lead the royal family into a glorious future, a sustainable future. So the slimming down of the monarchy on one hand is a great thing, but getting rid of people that purport to be part of the bloodline is a very interesting experiment that we're going to see here. I'm not saying that they're going to bring individuals in and insert them into the line of succession, hired hierophants, but the support team to the royal family will be more hired in, other than family blood members and people in the royal family periphery in terms of genetics. So this is going to be really interesting, because William's going to say, I am bringing in a team that's going to support me and advise me. But you, Harry, blood relative, you, Andrew, blood relative, I don't want you guys here, because you've proven through your actions that you're not working toward the collective gain for the royal family and for the British people. We're not looking at being forward thinking and making things good for all. So will the king, will he adhere to the optimal timeline that we've talked about here? Likely not. What about William? William has the full support of much of the royal family, much of the government. True statesman here. And most importantly, the people of the United Kingdom, because that is really who the royal family is there to uphold and to support. They're there to be the example of what British life should be in a perfect world. They are the example. So I think that we've got some magic going on here. I think it's very interesting. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Let me know if you think that we're going to diverge from this timeline. Let me know in the future, if you're watching this, if there's another time shift that happens that you want me to take apart. I think we have had a number of, what did I call them? Existential time shifts in the royal family. And now I think that we are seeing some really cool stuff that's going to be at play in the next 5 to 10 years. So thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this bonus feature for this week. I'm trying to give you as much content as possible, going very content heavy. Originally 2026 was going to be very live heavy, but we're going content heavy because the live heavy was not working. If you would like your own magical reading with me, come see us on Fridays. Friday, we have a tarot happy hour where you can kick off your weekend. You can get some questions with super chats, or you can book a private reading with me over the weekend, during the week, as my availability allows. I have 2 different ways that you can book with me. I do instant readings on Hipsy, and I also have bookings on there and bookings on my old Calendly link, which gives you access to me. All videos or all readings are done either by video chat or telephone call. You can have your pick. You don't have to be on camera with me. I like it to be on camera so you guys can actually see it's me and you can actually see the cards or whatever tool I'm working with. So hopefully I will see some of you for a magical reading in the next week or so. I've got plenty of availability coming up into next weekend, and I would love to help you guys find your yellow brick road. So thank you so much. Thank you for watching this whole series. Let me know what you think. If you want more of these 3-parters for the timelines, I'm more than happy to do it. This is a big topic. I wanted to jump in on it, and sure did we. So I will see you guys in the future.